Hello, my friends, and welcome to another chair yoga video. I'm Nina G, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. I'm calling today's video Your Core Self. And we're going to do a very slow practice today, seated in a chair, just connecting mind, body, and breath to get back to the very essence of our being, our core self. Additionally, we'll do a little bit of abdominal work as well, but the entire practice can be done seated. You could even do it lying in bed, except at the very end where we're going to use those strengthened core muscles to practice standing. So grab your chair, perhaps something to connect your feet to the floor, and we'll get started. We'll begin today seated, and we're going to connect our feet to the floor, either with a block or a cushion, and sit back on our chair, letting shoulders come down from the ears. Use your core muscles to allow you to sit up tall, lengthening the spine. We'll turn the palms down and just arrive here. So feel that connection of your feet to whatever they're connecting to. Feel the connection of your sitting bones and the upper leg on the chair. You might notice a connection between your back and the back of the chair. Notice where the hands touch the thighs. And the invitation here is to soften or close your eyes and arrive. Allow your breath to get a little bit smoother and a little bit longer. And notice what it feels like to be here in this stillness with your breath. Now let's take those hands and stack them at heart center. Blink open the eyes if they're closed. And we're just going to do a little bit of movement with that breath. We'll inhale, open the arms softly. And when we exhale, we'll bring hands back together at heart, perhaps different hand on top. Slow, smooth breath. Continue in this way. Nice tall spine. We'll do one more like that. And then we'll stack those palms at heart center. Pause here, tuck the chin, and take a moment to set an intention for this practice. Whatever it is that's important to you, might be this idea of connecting to your core self. And then we'll inhale, letting the arms open wide one last time. And as we exhale, we'll float those hands down. Let's circle the shoulders once or twice. Yes. And let's tune into our breath now. So I'm going to move to the edge of my chair here, connecting my feet directly to the floor. Just a little easier for me to explain this here. You can be at the back of the chair or, again, lying down. This works really well lying down. And we're going to imagine we have on like a short hoodie, a zip-up hoodie, something that fits pretty snugly, almost like a corset. And we're going to zip up the breath. So with our hands right now in the lap, let's take an inhale, fill up. Notice the softness on the front of the belly. And then as we exhale, we're going to exhale from the very base. Say the pubic bone to the navel, solar plexus, lower ribs, sternum, all the way up to the throat, as if we're zipping up. And then when we inhale, we're going to soften from the top down. So for me, it helps to pretend zip up. It helps me to keep track of what I'm doing here. So let's try that. Take that inhale, soften. Imagine the hoodie is unzipped. And then as we zip up from the base, from the pubic bone to the navel, the solar plexus, lower rib cage, sternum to the throat. And then inhale and soften. Throat, sternum, upper or lower ribs, solar plexus, navel, pubic bone. Everything's soft now. Try it again. Exhaling, zip up, engage those core muscles. And inhale from the top down, softening. Let's try a couple more like that. Last one. Just moving slowly, not in a hurry, just connecting to your core. And we're using maybe about 25% of that muscle strength. So it doesn't have to be like, ooh, just real soft. Now, we'll do 2 more breaths like that, but I'm going to zip up with my other hand because that's also real good for our brain. So I'm going to use my left hand to zip now. Take an inhale, everything softens. And then exhale, zip with the left hand coming up. And when we inhale, we soften. Sternum, lower ribs, solar plexus, navel, all the way down to the pubic bone. One more time, zipping up, exhaling on that zip up. Inhale, unzip. And then just allow your hands to rest in your lap. Take a few easy breaths, building that awareness, building that connection of the mind to the breath and the core. Okay, now let's turn our palms up in our lap. And we'll just take a few slow breaths here. Don't worry about the core right now, just a few slow breaths. When we inhale, we'll expand the fingers on the right hand. And exhale, soften. And then we'll switch to the left hand. Expand and soften on the exhale. And you can see how this would be very easily done while lying down. A great practice for first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed. Now let's do both hands simultaneously. One more like that. And then release. Take a moment to let that settle in and notice how it might change how you feel. And now we'll do the same thing with the expansion into the fingers, but we're going to add a head turn. So I'm going to inhale, expand into my right hand, turn my head to the left. And then when I exhale, I'm going to soften the fingers, bring head back to neutral. And this might help us to slow down, smooth out the breath even more. Now left hand expands, head turns right. Hand softens, head comes back to neutral. Continue in that way, right hand, turn head left. Soften right hand, head to neutral. Other side. One more on each side. And then pause here in the center. Now let's connect and bring our attention to our feet. So you might want to look at them, or if you're lying down, just kind of wiggle the toes, see what's going on, move the feet a little bit. And then we'll add the breath to the foot movement. So when we inhale, let's pick up the right heel. And exhale, lower. And then inhaling, left heel up. And exhale, lower. Continue in that way. Right heel lifts. It lowers on the exhale. And left heel. Now, if you're doing this in bed, you might be pointing your toes instead. That might make more sense. But again, easily done, lying down or seated. Now, let's pause here and we'll add in that head turn. So when we inhale, we're going to pick up the right heel, turn head left, and then lower the heel, head comes back to neutral. Then we inhale, pick up left heel, turn head right, lower the heel, head turns to neutral. It's a tongue twister. Turn left and center, head turns right and center. Let's do 2 more like that. And last one in each direction. And then return to center. Head is looking straight ahead. And let's take 3 breaths where we pick up both heels and we'll expand into both hands. How's that? So we'll inhale, pick up the heels, expand into both hands, and the exhale softens everything. 2 more breaths. Last one. And then we'll turn those palms back down, wiggle the feet if you like. Take a breath and notice changes to the body, changes to the nervous system with that focus on our breath and on our core self. Okay, so reaching the arms down alongside the body now. We're going to start to bring our arms up. Now, some people are going to have their arms up here, and that's fine. See if I can keep it in the frame there. And some people, this might be their max. That's fine as well. But whatever the max is, we're going to break it down into 4 pieces. So each time, each breath, we're only going to move 25% of the way. So if your max is right here, your first breath is only going to take you about that far. So let's give it a try. When we inhale, let's reach the arms up 25% of their max. Stay here for the exhale. Next inhale takes us to 50%. And exhale. 75%. And all the way up. And float the arms all the way back down on the exhale. Take a breath here. Okay, we're going to do that again. So inhale to 25%. Keep the arms there as you exhale. 50%. 75%. On your next inhale, take your arms all the way, whatever that means to you today. And as we exhale, we'll float them all the way back down. Last one. 25% staying here for the exhale. 50%. 75%. 100%. Wherever your arms go today is perfect. And as we exhale, we'll float them all the way back down, slowly, carefully. Let the arms rest in your lap. Take a circle or 2 with the shoulders. Take an inhale here and an exhale, and notice sensations in the body. Now let's interlace our fingers in front of us. So we've interlaced all 10 fingers. We've got our hands pretty much in front of that heart center here, and let's make some lazy figure eights or infinity signs here. So we're moving the wrists. We might feel a little sensation in the forearms. You could make it a little bigger if you wanted, add in a little twist. That might be interesting. But if that's too much movement, don't worry about it. If you're lying down, your movement will be limited, but it still works. Now reverse the way that your figure eights are going. And notice how you might have to think a little bit to get that happening. Notice how the wrists feel different when they move this way. And then pause, come back to center. Let's switch the interlace of the fingers so it's the non-habitual way, or the weird way, as I sometimes call it. Same thing. Our feet are connected to the floor. We're going to make those lazy figure eights again. It might feel a little bit differently when we do it this way. And then pause and let those figure eights go the other way. And then pause, come back to center. Maybe let your fingers interlace the normal way again, and let them be a little bit, let the palms separate a little bit, and just do a little movement, a little disco arms movement here. Bringing some motion into wrists, maybe the upper arm's getting a little bit more into it, the shoulders. And then we'll release those fingers. You can twinkle them, let them sparkle, let the hands rest back in your lap. Sit up tall. Now, if we are seated, I would say here, you might want to come to the edge of the chair now, because we're going to move to our core now. We're going to move to the core. So we're going to take our two hands and we're going to push the waves away. And then we're going to pull the waves back in. So I'm working to my left side. Let's take an inhale, sit up tall. And as we exhale, push the waves away. Inhale, pull them back in. So we have a little dynamic tension happening here. We're actually pushing something, not just flapping our arms in the wind here. Think about that belly getting soft on the inhale and engaging on the exhale. We'll do one more here, pushing away and come back. Pause for a moment. We'll switch sides. You can think about that zipper again if you want to. Take an inhale and then exhale, push away. Inhale, unzip the hoodie. Zip it up as you push away. There's that dynamic tension as we push away and as we pull back. So our arms, our core, all working. Last one. Let your hands rest in your lap. Take a big inhale, soften, and exhale. Now we will push the waves. We'll alternate sides. So let's take an inhale, sit up tall, hands are ready. Exhale, push away the waves to the left. Inhale, bring them back. Exhale, push away the waves to the right. And inhale, bring them back. We'll do one more on each side. And then let the hands rest in your lap. And you might want to take your hand and make some nice soft circles on the belly, thanking it for the good work it just did. Okay, now as promised, we're going to work on, with that core strength that we were just exploring, we're going to work on some standing skills here. So from seated, and this is, this isn't going to work if you're lying down. You have to come up to seated, or if you're lying down, your practice is ending now, and you can come into stillness. But those of us that are seated, let's come to the edge of our chair, and I'm going to bring my feet in just a little bit closer towards my body. Take an inhale, get tall, and as we exhale, we're going to shift forward just a little bit. So I've got this length from my hips to the crown of my head, and I'm pushing into my feet as I come on up to standing. And then we'll soften into the knees and come on back down. Okay? So this is the sequence. We take that inhale, get a little taller. Exhale, hinge forward, push into the feet, and come up to standing. Carefully sit back down. We'll do it one more time. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, hinge forward. Let's see if we can do this without our arms, pushing into the feet, coming all the way up. Ta-da! And now let's sit back down. We're going to sit down. We're going to connect our feet back to the floor. So I'm grabbing those blocks to connect my feet to the floor. Let's turn palms up in the lap. The invitation again is to soften or close your eyes and take a moment here to notice how the body feels now. This hasn't been a long practice, but we did a lot of work to reconnect to our core self. Notice how the breath feels now. Notice how your body feels now. Now we will stack those palms at heart center one last time and recall the intention that you set at the very beginning of our class. And then we'll blink open the eyes, float the arms down. Thank yourself for taking time to practice yoga today, whether seated or lying down. And thanks for allowing me to guide you. Stay well, my friends. I'll see you again soon. Connect to your core self.